and welcome back to my channel. Today we are picking my March TBR. If you're new to reading and aren't sure what TBR means, this means to be read. So it's a list of books that I would like to get to in the next month and hopefully will, but most of the time I do kind of read like half my TBR and then I'm a bit of a mood reader. I'm not using any prompts or anything to pick my TBR this month. I've picked out the books that I want to read, so I'm just going to go through them with you guys because I really am in a mood reading kind of era at the minute. So let's go through this list. I have got 6 books to go through with you. I've got 4 physical and 2 on my Kindle. Let's get into it. First up is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. So this is the kind of spin-off series to the Hunger Games trilogy. I recently talked about it in my book haul and I'm so excited for this. The reason I'm putting this on my March TBR is because I am very aware that the next book is coming out extremely soon and we are finally getting Haymitch's book and I'm so excited. But I have already seen this film, so I know what happens, but I can't remember every little detail, and honestly I loved it so much. We are following the Hunger Games years and years before Katniss had entered the arena, at the time when President Snow was in like university, so like 40 years before the Hunger Games took place. And we see him, he is actually a mentor to someone from District 12 called Lucy. And that's all I'll probably mention. I feel like if you haven't read Hunger Games, you have to read that first to understand. This is a prequel, but it definitely makes more sense to have kind of the knowledge of that previous trilogy in your brain before you get to it. I think obviously I've not read it yet, but every book so far in the Hunger Games universe has been 5 stars. So personally I think this is a good one to have and I'm so excited for the next book, even though I've not read this yet. Moving on to the 2 books that I want to read on Kindle. So they were actually one of those first reads picks that you can get if you've got Kindle Unlimited. So I only learned about this recently, where you basically get the choice of like 5 or 6 books each month and they obviously change and you can pick I picked 2, but I don't know if that's like allowed, up to 2 I think, that you can download to your Kindle to read for free. And so I picked The Full Risk by Abby Jimenez, and I believe this is like a short story romancy. The synopsis says that 2 good neighbours make the best of a bad Valentine's Day in a funny and improbably romantic short story. So it's Valentine's Day weekend and Charlotte and Seth are not looking for romance. Armed with emotional support bear spray, Charlotte is in self-imposed isolation and on guard from men. Having a stalker can do that to a person's nerves. Just across the hall and giving off Wednesday vibes is Seth, a recently divorced arborist. And in Today recently, oh, he just got divorced today. Stop it. Heights he's fine with, trust not so much, but when disaster traps them one flight up and no way down, an outrageously precarious predicament forces a tree-loving guy and a rattle girl next door to embrace their captivity. So it just sounds so entertaining. And I haven't read any of Abby Jimenez's books as of yet, so this will be my first little taster, and I feel like what a good way to go into her work and her writing with a almost like novella type story. So it's literally only 81 pages and I feel like if you're looking for a book to up your Goodreads goal as well, this could be a good one to add into it, but I'm really excited for that one. And then the second option that I've got on my Kindle is Something Like Fate by Amy Lee or Leah. And once again, know nothing about this going into it. I saw this on there and I thought, you know what, I'm going to add that to my Kindle because why not? So once again, it's another romantic comedy. I think I downloaded these around like Valentine's Day, so it was giving those kind of lovey-dovey vibes. But I don't think I haven't read a romance in what feels like forever, so I'm really excited to get into these because I'm reading a lot of fantasy recently, so I'm kind of thinking maybe I need to switch it up slightly. So we're following our main character Lo. They basically come from a family, generations and generations of fortune telling women. However, Lo obviously does not have this ability and she's really unlucky in love. She's just about to go on this backpacking trip to Italy and she finally gets a vision. So her family are then convinced she's going to meet her one true love on this trip. And yeah, it just sounds really interesting and enjoyable once again. I don't know how long it is. So 345 pages, yeah, so nothing too major. I feel like these are just going to be really good palette cleansers for me in the month of March. Then the 4th book that I'm putting on my March TBR is going to be The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. And I don't know too much about this, By the looks of things, this is going to be extremely emotional. We are kind of following our main character and they receive one last letter from someone that has been killed in the army. And in this letter, someone is basically telling our main character, Beckett, that he needs to go to this town and see this man's sister because she is raising twins alone. He says that she's independent and doesn't accept help very easily. But obviously this woman has lost a lot of family members, including this guy now, so Beckett obviously is going to go and help, and I feel like we're just gonna see this story unveil. It says, so I'm begging you, as my best friend, go take care of my sister, my family. Please don't make her go through it alone. Ryan. The synopsis is already making me emotional. It's giving like, what's that movie with Channing Tatum in where he's in the army? Not the last song. What is it called? Dear John. It's giving that, and I'm excited to read Rebecca Yarros's like romancy kind of non-fantasy work, because obviously I have only read the Empyrean series, which is Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, and I'm excited to see what she does in a different genre because I love her writing in that. So fingers crossed I like it in this as well. Back to a fantasy pick now. This is something that I started the series of a couple months ago and I just wasn't too keen on the first book. However, I have been told that the story gets better as each book goes on, and this is Nightbane by Alex Aster. So I recently once again spoke about this in a book haul and I just do want to get to it. I do think the final few chapters in Lilac really did draw me in and it made me wanting more. Like I feel like I'm a little bit, I do actually think about it quite often, like Grimm and Oro and the love triangle. If you are a fan of like romantasy, love triangles, and I feel like this series could be for you, I'm praying it gets better. I do just think the covers are stunning for this series, and obviously we have those special editions coming out at the end of the year. Cannot wait. And I won't go too much into this just because I don't want to spoil the first book for anyone, but our main character is in a predicament at the start of this book, obviously following on from that first book, Lilac. So I do think I am excited, to be honest. I just think I need to make sure I'm in the right frame of mind for this book so I don't, you know, I don't want to be like super busy and then putting the book down a lot and then not being able to get into it, because I feel like that really sways my ratings. Now on to the final book of this little March TBR. I have got I Remember Paris by Lucy Diamond, and I recently read my first book of Lucy's, Something to Tell You, and it was so entertaining and enjoyable. She wrote this kind of Life of Spice kind of formatting, and we were following a lot of different POVs, all their different lives, and it was less plot and more like character driven, so I'm hoping this gives the same vibes. I haven't actually read the synopsis yet, but it says Paris has always held a piece of Jess's heart ever since she spent a magical summer there over 20 years ago. When a writing job offers her the chance to return, she's delighted, especially as her subject is iconic artist Adelaide Fox. This reminds me of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, obviously, when they're writing like their biography. Now approaching 80, Adelaide wants to tell her life story, and what a life it has been, full of scandal, success, betrayal and passion. But Adelaide is keeping secrets from her, Jess is sure, and soon she realises she will have to confront her own past in the city. Can Jess find out the truth, even if it means changing both of their lives forever? It just draws you in, and I feel like something set in Paris as well is going to be really enjoyable to read about, because I don't think I have read a book yet set in this location. And yes, I'm so excited to have this on my TBR. I do think Lucy Diamond is going to become one of my authors the more that I read of her, because I really did enjoy that first book. So fingers crossed this lives up to the hype in my head. So there we have it. That is my little March TBR here. I have gone for 6 books, obviously, because I do tend to read around 8 to 10, but there are certain books that I read for certain videos, and I like to have a little bit of leeway so I can get some mood reading time in as well. I am excited to read these. If you're still here, please let me know if you have read any of these and which ones I should prioritise, because I'm excited for this month. I feel like we're very soon approaching summer, so I'm trying to get a little bit more romance feels into my TBRs rather than just heavy fantasy. But I will say my physical TBR is extremely fantasy heavy. I don't have many romances on it, so is that something that I'm going to have to turn to like Kingdom Unlimited for? but we shall see. Thank you so much for watching if you're still here, and do not forget to give it a like, comment your thoughts as well. I'd love chatting with you guys in the comments, and I shall see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe.